not ruin that. Hi, I'm Gloria and I did a thing. I was on spring break. I was bored because I didn't want to do my homework and I haven't been sewing in a while, and I was like, I bought the sewing machine, it cost me a lot of money and I'm not really using it, so why not do a patchwork top? And listen, I really thought I could do this in a few hours. You know, I'm an avid sewer now. I can do this. It's fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be so quick. Listen, it's taking me like a week. Can you imagine? It took me a minute to do this top because I messed up so many times. But it's cute. I'm really excited to present to you this patchwork top, but before we start, let's talk about the history of patchwork. So patchwork really dates back to about over 5,000 years ago. It has some Egyptian and some Chinese origins. In Egypt, it was really used for clothing, decorations, etc. And in the Chinese culture, it was really seen as armor. It's just an art that really has come and gone throughout history. I mean, during the Great Depression in the United States, for example, it had come back because it was a really great and useful way to make a clothing out of really scraps of fabric, which is the whole point. And so today it has come back again because the Pinterest girl decided to bring it back as an ode to the Y2K era. And some notable characteristics about this taking back of the patchwork top again is that the more flamboyant, the better. I mean, it can be as eccentric as you want it to be. It can be very muted, very symmetric, or it can be very loud. Like the seams can be colorful and such, and it's okay. Like it's really just so creative what you can do with patchwork top. I just think it's so interesting. Okay, so now that we know the history of patchwork, we can move on to the making of the patchwork top. So as I've said before, it was a very long process, and you can tell by the hairstyles that I have gone through throughout the week. So the first part, and like really fun part actually, is the sketching. So I think it's really important to sketch anyway for me because it really helps me bring my imagination to reality. Yeah, it's very hard for me to stay focused, and so sketching is just a very fun part, very relaxing, and it makes me feel like I'm a fashion designer. Like I'm on project one way and I have half an hour to figure out my sketch. So that's why I like to do it so much, and I do it in my sketchbook. After that comes the not so fun part, which is making the pattern. Anyway, I forgot the name, but there's a cotton material. It's like off-white that's really used to make patterns. I'm completely forgetting the name. If you have that or any type of scrap fabric that you could use that, but really I was already using the scrap fabric to do the top, you know. So for this project I decided to use some pink fabric that I had used to do a sweatsuit in a previous video. You can check it out, it's on my channel, don't worry. And also a white t-shirt that I just was not wearing at all, and I was kind of just chilling in my closet. For the creation of the patterns, I used this transparent wrapping paper, which was very useful, very aesthetic, and I made sure to do two different patterns for the front and the back because they had different necklines, and of course I made sure to forego of the sleeves because they are a pattern of their own. Something important to note is that I did not include any seam allowance when drawing the patterns. I was thinking of doing it only after, since all the different pieces were going to be individuals anyway. So something that I did not take into consideration when drawing my pattern is the grain line. It's very important when you're drawing the patterns to keep in mind that since it's going to be like very form-fitted, like as you can see it's very form-fitted, that's what I wanted. You really need to make sure that the grain line matches, so you can't just have one part that's stretchy like this, that's stretchy like this, and this part that's stretchy like this. It doesn't work, it's not going to fit. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So once you draw the patterns onto the fabric, you now have to cut it apart. I'm so tired of cutting pieces of fabric. So tired. When I started cutting, it was light out and now it's fully dark, so yeah. And I really recommend just keeping the pattern pieces, like the actual sketches of the pattern, on top of the fabric, just because it's way easier to keep in mind what's what, especially when you have that many pieces. So just save yourself the headache and do that, please. So after that came the very tedious part of pinning the fabric. So pinning the fabric really makes it come alive. You can see like, whoa, that's what it's going to look like. It's going to be super cute. And some people pin the fabric. They don't actually pin the fabric. They just not pinch it, but they use des épingles. I forgot the word in French. By the way, let me know if you'd like me to try a video in French, because I'm actually fluent. It's my first language, as if you could not tell. But yeah, let me know if you'd be interested in a video in that. I would of course put the subtitles in English, but yeah, I think it'd be fun. I don't know. So yeah, after pinning the fabric, it's a very tedious process, but it really comes alive. And then the fun part is sewing. I am so tired of doing this. It is only 7 p.m. and I feel like I have been doing this for hours, because I have been doing this for hours, and it takes so much brain power to do this. I mean, the amount of pins that I have had to use, at least half my packs, but at least 50 pins. And it's just, you know, it's so much harder to do patchwork instead of just a regular top, because it's 4 pieces. It's 10 pieces total instead of having like 4. Man, I'm tired. So for the sewing process, you will really need a ballpoint needle. Since it's kind of a thin fabric, I would recommend like really small, on the smaller side, but not too small, because it's not satin fabric either. But you know, ballpoint needle is a must. I also use the zigzag stitches because it allows it to hold better, since the pink is a knit fabric. This is a girl. I'm not a knitted sewer, I'm sorry. And I also put the tension of my sewing machine at 4. Hi! So I'm back. We are the next day, which is why my hair looks different. Just go with it. So I had to run out and buy some new needles because the ones that I had were just not good. They were not doing it. I could not sew anything. So we are going to make it work today. You will need some thread. I decided to just go with white thread as usual, just because half the top is white. So I started out by putting together the front panels, the 4 front panels together, just to make sure that it really made sense, really tied in together. Then I moved on to the 4 back panels, put it all together, and then when I had the front and the back, like 2 complete pieces, I was able to put it together at the shoulder. So that's the shoulder seam I did after that. And then I could do the sleeves, which, let me tell you, it's really, like, I'm really struggling with sleeves. Like, it was like my second time doing them, and it was a lot better than the first time, but definitely not perfect. So watching back, I'm realizing that I sewed the sleeve wrong. So I should have aligned the sleeve to the rest of the body, so it should have been facing, like, laid on upon the rest of the body instead of, you know, being side by side, you know. So that's something to keep in mind, but anyway, I ended up cutting them, so yikes. So I think that the trick is really to do 1 continuous seam, and I was really proud of it until I tried on the top. I accidentally put the stretchy side on the wrong side. So the stretchy side is this way instead of being that way. So yeah, it's too small now. Love that for me. Oh my god. So at that point, I really felt about giving up. So of course I had to take it apart. So the seam that I was extremely proud of on the side of my body, I just had to simmer it. It had to go. and I had to add some fabric, which is what I did on the sides here, here, and here, just to give myself a chance to really like fit into the top, because I really thought about giving up. I was really proud of that top. I thought it looked really good, but now I don't know what to do, because like the whole point was for it to be symmetric, but I don't really know what to do since it's not going to be so symmetric anymore. But the beauty of it is that it is patchwork, so there are quite literally no rules. Okay, so at this point I'm thinking of just cutting up the sleeves and just making a tank top, because listen, like it's just not going to fit. I mean, it worked on the original design, which is this, but on this top it just doesn't work. So if I just cut the sleeves, I can make the armhole much larger than it is currently. And yeah, I can add the fabric. I can after that add the fabric that's missing, because it's missing like quite a bit, especially in the armpit. So I can really make it work way easier if I don't have sleeves, I think. So I decided to add a few pieces of fabric on the sides, adjusted, too big, adjust again, too small, adjust again, just the right size. Then the very satisfying part, which actually takes quite a long time when it's patchwork, is to cut off all of the excess fabric. And unfortunately, one of the excess fabric that just had to go was the sleeves, just because it wasn't fitting right anymore, which really made me sad, because I had taken like at least now we're doing the sleeves, like after that I just had to hem the bottom, the top, which I didn't film, because listen, hemming is hemming. You just need to fold the bottom of your top and zigzag stitch all throughout. Just make sure that it's all equal all throughout, or somewhat equal at least. And yeah, that's really what makes it look clean afterwards. After that, the longest part, well, it wasn't that long, but it definitely feels like it's not that necessary, but trust me, it really makes a difference, especially since the seams are exposed, is to zigzag stitch. So I don't have a serger, unfortunately. I think it would have been a lot quicker if I did, but zigzag stitching, although it was very long, very tedious, it's like, it really makes the top look put together, really makes it look clean, and I really like it. I really appreciate that I took the time to do it, because chef's kiss. And this is what it ended up looking like.